Hey everyone, welcome back to We Are Sydney, presented to you by San Miguel. Before we start today's episode, I want to send our thoughts and condolences to everyone affected from the Bondi Beach events. We are thinking of you and we are here for you. And now today, here is our episode with Alex Brosque.
Alex Brosque, thanks for coming on, brother.
Thank you. Thanks. It's
You
good to
look
be here.
fantastic. What does a week in the life of Alex Brosque look like post-football?
It's always different,
Okay.
which is good. At the moment, a lot of backyard landscaping, so I'm getting a lot of sun, a lot of burns on the back, which isn't good, but I'm outside, I'm enjoying it. Otherwise, a bit of football, still involved in the A-League, covering the men's football. And again, just stuff at home, being with the kids, so enjoying.
Beautiful. How do you find punditry? You're very good at it.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you. I think it's quite simple and quick, which can be difficult when you've got producers in your ear giving you 3 seconds to break down anything that we have to. But look, I enjoy being around the game, still popping in and seeing the boys, and just that closeness that it still gives me to the game. So working with Archie, Macca, all these guys and Tara as well, is good. It's a good crew of people behind the scenes, everyone there as well. So look, I enjoy it, and in the time that I do it as well, which is once every couple of weeks, it gives me that flexibility on weekends, which I love. So it's a good gig.
To me, you're the Sydney FC GOAT. Do you find that hard, not having that bias, being a Sydney FC legend?
Very hard,
Yeah.
yes. Because obviously I'm watching the game and it's off camera and I get very animated and then have to come on and be professional and neutral. Mm-hmm. So it's difficult. And I guess because of my history with the club, any comment I make is going to be looked at, okay, he's just favouring the club. Or if I make a comment against the club, the fans could get angry and say, oh, he's trying to be overly neutral by going the other way. So it's a difficult sort of thing to juggle. Even, the fact that I know a lot of guys still playing and having to sometimes make comments on their performances or, my nephew the other day played for the Mariners against Sydney and, got fouled in the box. And I said it was, no penalty. And then his dad's ringing me after, which is my brother-in-law, saying, mate, why didn't you say anything? I'm like, this is the way I saw it. I didn't think it was a penalty. And he's showing me on his phone why it was, and I showed him why it wasn't. But look, it's all part of it. I think I try and, say what I feel and keep it honest. And, yeah, it's a bit of fun.
Do you do some coaching as well?
I do. I coach my oldest daughter.
Okay.
Aww.
Yeah.
What's
So that's a good balance then. That's because I was going to say you can tell that you don't do too much coaching because you still got the nice full head of hair.
Well,
I was going to say you're not full-time coaching.
You're
you can
right
definitely tell.
in terms of it being a balance. So I have a lot of fun with the punditry stuff, and then the coaching brings me right back down to earth. It is stressful. I think at park football level, which is where you just want and need to keep kids engaged and wanting to come back, and with the girls' football as well, teenage girls, keeping them in sport is very important. So it's balancing the ones that want to drive and want to go, from park football into, say, NPL and those leagues, to the ones who are just happy for those 10 minutes before training, socialising, being together, and then, angry coach yells, right, we've got to start, doing drills, and they don't like that side of it. So juggling the two, it's stressful, and my dad's my assistant, so he.
It's a dream team.
Well, I've got to keep him more quiet than worrying about the girls sometimes. So it's a bit of fun.
I know how she probably feels because I was that age when I gave up football. I thought I should have kept going because I was decent, had a good left foot. But I used to get, wasn't happy because my dad would give me that team talk in the car after, like, should have done this. I'm like, Dad, just let me be. How does she find that, her relationship with her dad also being a coach?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I'm quite hard on her, and sometimes, and I've told her before that I send messages to others through her. She needs to be ready for that. But it can't be easy, I think, with that side of it. But she had a really good season, and she's quite good. She's quick and she can score. But we played, so the team came first. We played Champions of Champions, and she missed about 5 one-on-ones. We got in the car, and we lost the game 1-0 right at the death. And she got in the car. She knew it was coming, and she's like, I didn't say anything for ages. And then she's like, all right. So through my dad, who was also in the car, what does he think? What's he saying? Because he's not giving me anything. And I was actually okay. I went the other way. I said, listen, I could hammer you about the chances and how you missed and why you missed them and whatever. But, the reality is you did well. You scored a lot of goals, which actually got us into that point. So, look, I'll go easy on you this
She
time.
knew herself, you know.
Yeah. So I think it's again finding that balance where normally I'm very tough and go at her and, like I said, send messages through her. But on the other side, I think she knows how good she is and how important I see her, not just as my daughter, but as a team member, and what she brings. So I do enjoy it. I enjoy seeing her improvement, seeing the girls' improvement, and most of them have come back for next year, which is good and a positive, right? Like I said, keeping the girls at part
100%.
football in the game is important.
Oh, that's beautiful. Sounds like you got a good balance. One thing we do, Alex, on this show is fan questions.
Fan questions.
There are a lot. This one is from Matt_Way, Sammy.
Yep, Matt's asked, what do you think will be the key for Sydney this season?
Look, I think this season, going into it, probably nowhere near as much expectation as last season, given the squads that what they had, and last season for many reasons just didn't go as planned. Uffy did a big clean out, brought some young boys in. So I think Alex Bomjohan has done incredibly well with Uffy in picking the right players, and I think at the moment they've got an incredible balance, of experience with the back four, the young boys in midfield who have been fantastic. Lolly, Ahsan Toure, the foreigners who I think will, we're yet to see the best of them.
Yeah.
But just that balance is great and working at the moment. So while they're not at their best, they're finding ways to win, which is important. So the key to success is to just keep what they're doing. There's nothing to change at the moment. I think that balance has been spot on. It's perfect. Keep the players on the park injury free. And those relationships will continue to grow. I think they're on the right path.
Can you remember an A-League season, like even when you were a player, that's this wide open? I feel like when you were playing, but then even post, after you retired, it was Sydney FC with a team, then it was Melbourne City, had that little mini dynasty for a while. I feel like I can't remember a season where it's been this wide open, which suits this Sydney FC team
it does,
so much more as well.
And that's the other thing. You don't look at any other team and think, they're going to really challenge Sydney or hurt Sydney. I think Melbourne City definitely there. They've got a lot of depth. They're challenging across both competitions at the moment, so they'll be up there. But everyone else you expect to be there. Victory struggling, Wanderers struggling.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So all the bigger clubs are finding it difficult at the moment. Then you've got the Raw, who was surprising everybody. Yeah. The Mariners have been sort of thereabouts. Auckland will be strong again. Yep. I think they've got some good depth. Brought in some good new players, but. You're right. Every year we seem to say it, but this year seems like, and I think it's because of that. We've turned to youth a lot more now, and it's just opened the competition. So there's such a high turnover of players at every squad that you don't have those, 8 or 9 regular players even coming back from last season that you think, they're going to be strong this year. So I think it does suit Sydney.
On the youngsters, how good has it been to see Sydney FC developing those youngsters and then get their chance overseas? How good has it been?
It's important. It's what we see all over the world. The big clubs, they're able to do both. They're able to challenge domestically for their competitions, but also bring through the best young players, develop them for a couple of years and sell them, and then just keep that production line going. So I think, Kelly Cross has done an amazing job with the academy, bringing young kids through, whether it's the boys we're seeing through at Sydney or ex-Sydney, academy players, which, again, you're not going to be able to fit every year into the first team. So, we're going to lose some academy players, which we've seen over the years, but the fact that they're coming out of our academy and going into other A-League clubs, making a name for themselves, going overseas is important, I think, for Australian football.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's good to see Sydney is sort of leading the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It is exciting to watch as an Australian football fan. There's so much is happening in Australian football. We're seeing the Australian Championship as well. And one thing about that is it's very exciting for the future of football, but it also makes us reminisce. And that's what we've done with your playing career. Now, it's easy to forget. You just think that Alex Brosque was born in a Sydney FC jersey. That's the only jersey you ever wore.
From the womb.
I'm going to go all the way back now to a different shade of blue, Azuri blue. A young, beardless Alex Brosque breaking through at Marconi. What was that like? Because you grew up in Western Sydney.
Yeah.
It's another thing that's easy to forget. You weren't born. You weren't born in the heart of Western Sydney, Bosley Park. I call that. That's just their football epicenter.
Factory.
You break through at Marconi in the final years of the NSL. What was that like for you?
For me, it was great because as a kid, I grew up around the corner from Club Marconi, right? So I when I was old enough, my dad was taking me to the game, Marconi Stadium, and I could literally walk there. So
awesome.
To then get to put on the jersey, and it is funny, right? That connection, you're talking about a different shade of blue, even with my Uruguayan heritage.
Yeah.
It's always been there
It's always been
along
blue.
the way. Exactly right. So then, watching a lot of these players play in the old NSL, the A-League was still nowhere to be seen at that point. So to come through to our, national competition for the team that I grew up watching, and the way that it sort of panned out and happened as well, I was a Marconi Junior, Southern Districts Junior, which was, linked to Marconi at the time. Went into their Colts, their youth team, went to the AIS for a season, and then I guess had a few options at that point on where to go. But I always wanted to come and play for Marconi, and just again the shift that the club had gone through at the time, Lee Sterry coming in as a coach and promoting a lot more youngsters, it gave me the opportunity to come back, play for Marconi, which was a dream of mine at the time, and I loved it. It was great. I mean, the NSL was on the back end. Crowds were starting to fall away. The league, the coverage, everything was starting to drop off. And interest in general, crowds were really low. But even still, getting to run out in Marconi Stadium, and we've been there a lot of times since. There's still something about it.
Of course,
so iconic.
It is. And now with the championship, it's great to see Marconi back at that in that stage.
Absolutely, so many iconic football clubs back on that national stage where they belong. It's just fate. We had you on. We've known this for a while that you're coming on this show, and then suddenly you showed me this video of a very young Alex Brosque talking about a move to Europe.
Yeah, you were 19. You looked so young, and you're speaking about how your dream was to go to Europe, and then you accomplished that. What was that like?
I think it's something that was sort of conditioned into Australian players, right? You had to sort of make your name here as a local player and then go overseas. So what I was saying there was, pretty much the script for any young kid, and I guess that dream was definitely true. I held hope of one day going overseas and seeing how far I could make it, but the actual and you do get prepared for it. People tell you about how difficult it is going overseas. You're
young as well.
I was thinking 19 at the time. Yeah,
well.
I think reality really set in when I made the move. I thought at the time that I was signing, which with contract issues and whatever, a long-term deal. So I went over there and thought, right, I mean, I'm going to see my family and friends now once every 12 months for a couple of weeks. And the homesickness and all of that was definitely a factor for me. I went over with she wasn't my wife at the time, with my partner, but which made it easier, but still very, very difficult, And then you sort of carry that as well, that you're dragging someone along with you, and she's now not with her family, and it was hard, And then having a couple injuries, not really settling into the team, and playing a lot of football in that first year was difficult, which again you expect and and you hear the stories and again that sort of gave me, looking back now, an appreciation for all those guys who have really stuck it out and regardless of what happened, having that mental strength, which I didn't have, looking back and understanding that was a part of being a total footballer that I didn't have, and probably stopped me from going to the next level, not having that mental strength where regardless of what's happening and regardless of what's at home, you got a job to do, you need to push through it, and to get the best out of yourself, this is where you need to be. So the back end of that first season, the A-League was starting, and for me it was, while the advice I was given was to stay overseas and not come home, for me it was an excuse to come home. So look, I signed and don't regret any decision. Again, that's when I was always at my best on the pitch, when I was comfortable, and comfortable for the most part meant being at home and with family and friends. Look, I don't regret any decision I made. Grateful for coming back, for playing in the A-League and everything that it gave me.
I think that move was probably pivotal though for you, right? Because people don't see the sacrifices and stuff that everyone makes as a footballer. So then you come home and then you appreciate maybe playing for Sydney, and it became your home and this club that you cherish. So maybe you appreciated it more because of what you went through over there.
Look, definitely. And then, initially, obviously I came back to Queensland Roar at the time, but, even still being at home, being in Australia was, and the fact that Australia now had a competition where we're having 10, 20, 30,000 people go to games. It was the dream of most of us when we were kids. And a lot of people who fought long and hard to try and get Australian football to that point, to actually see it happening was great to be a part of.
Yeah, that must have been a shock as well, because now at the information age that we live in, you find out information in a second. You could have looked up, if this was, if the iPhone existed 20 years ago, hey, League, what's going on? You have a full write-up and you know everything. But I can imagine it would have been a bit of a shock, a pleasant shock when you come back and this league, like as you said, the NSL is so rich in history, but it was dying slowly when you were playing in it, and then you come back and all of a sudden it's this new league, new teams, new colours. That must have been a bit of a shock as well to come back to.
Look, it was heading into that opening weekend of the A-League. It was pretty much bleeding from Frank Lowy, from all the administrators in the game, getting people and getting all, like, I guess the fans behind their club. Every city had one team, and they were trying to unite the whole of, be it Sydney, Queensland, Melbourne, Victoria, all together, and I feel like it did that for a period. And it was great because it's what everyone had hoped for the game, to see Allianz Stadium full, Suncorp Stadium full, Amy Park. Don't know that it was around at the time, but even still.
Marvel, I think, or whatever it was called back then.
Whatever it was called.
Telstra Dome back then.
Yeah. So to see these stadiums all of a sudden full, it was great,
Yeah, that's cool. Was there ever when I think inaugural A-League season, I think those Reebok, the template, like they had the template and it was everyone.
Yes,
but then didn't everyone have the same coloured away jersey or something crazy like that? Like, it could only
It was
happen.
the tracksuits that were rubbish. I mean, for all the colouring the kits, everyone had grey, disgusting, they looked like garbage bags.
My question was what's the best inaugural A-League season story? Like something that could have only have happened in the inaugural A-League season. Like
Melbourne Heart.
Like for example, we had Ulfie on, he said CFC trained at Centennial Park. Like I cannot imagine, I play Sunday League at Centennial Park. I can't imagine a pro team playing there. Or even, I know this was an inaugural A-League season, like even Melbourne Heart when they jumped in the bins and they did ice baths in the bins. Like what's something that happened in the inaugural season that could never have happened at any other time?
Yeah.
You know what? I think probably just looking back, the coach that we had, Miron Bleiberg, and I don't know if you remember him, but just the character
he was a character.
And to be fair, we're starting to shift back to that now when you look at Adam Griffiths and
I'm a lion.
the ridiculous things he's saying.
Hey, you got a gig out of it.
I saw that. Yes, he did. He signed.
We live in the social media age where it's all about clipping and bites and
They've been
everything
getting
else.
wins, so it's working. Whatever those.
Does anyone know what he was actually referring to?
He was going down so many.
I thought I knew where he was going, but then he just.
Even the journalist didn't know whether to laugh or to leave. It was so weird. But look, you're right. He got a job out of it. So I think the more different you can be now. But Miron Bleiberg, our coach at Queensland, was very much of that.
Best Miron Bleiberg story. Okay, what's something the quirkiest thing he did?
Our training sessions. I mean, we're most training sessions are pretty well structured, and you go into, I'm sure Uffy's, office now, when you see the whole training mapped out and everything. With Miron Bleiberg, not to suggest it wasn't planned out, but there was a lot of off the cuff stuff and not a lot of actual. A couple of the drills. So we played a normal possession game, but to get a point, you had to backheel a pass to someone or you had to nutmeg to someone. So it turned into an absolute farce. You've got no one doing anything but backheeling, and it was like under five football. The ball's no one's actually completing a pass. We all ended up just fighting with each other. Thankfully, we had a good group of guys, but Miron was a character where he always tried to do something different. And a drill that no one else had done before, which was very frustrating. But also kept things quite fun. He was a character.
It's great to see the return of characters, like you said.
Yes.
Coming home to Sydney, you have the season. You won the golden boot in your inaugural, but you shared it. That's also peak inaugural A-League season. You shared it with two other players.
And one of them was a defender. So that's how bad. That's
some A-League heritage right there.
8 goals or something?
8 goals. Yeah.
21 game season as well. It was the shortened
Still
season.
Good. Who was the defender that won it? Do you remember?
No, it might have been Heffernan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Was the plan to always come back to Sydney though? Did Queens? What was the story?
Not really. Yeah, no. The plan was to come home. I signed for a year and just see where it took me. To get my career back on track after the year I'd had in Belgium and just try and get back overseas. But then, halfway through that season, Sydney contacted my agent and it sort of went from there. They offered me a 3-year deal. And I took it, and that's how I ended up here. But I think the idea of playing under Brosque and the players that Sydney had at the time, was very appealing to me. And joining, obviously, what ended up being a championship-winning side in Sydney, things sort of went downhill from there. Dwight York left, Brosque left, and things really went downhill for a bit of time. But again, being at Sydney, being at home, again, was good.
You won a few championships with Sydney. Which one's your favourite? 3, right?
I won 3.
Yeah.
10, 17 and 19.
Yes. Look, they were all special in different ways. 17 and 19 were close enough that most of that group was the same. But the 2010 group was special, going down there to Melbourne and winning that fight. All 3 were in penalties, actually.
We discovered that. It's wild.
It is pretty crazy. The only one that was in 90 minutes, I ended up losing and quite heavily.
You want to go to Penset, don't you?
Well, yeah. So look, I think the 10-1 was good because I'd never won a championship before, a grand final before, since I was about 10 years old. So that feeling was incredible. That group as well was really good and really close. But then I think, look, doing it here in 17 with a team, breaking all those records. Arnie came back to fix the club, and he definitely did that. He built an incredible squad. Arnie was all about culture, so I think the change room was like nothing I'd ever experienced. The team, from 1 right through to 23, the players that came in to train with us from the youth team, everything was great. So to win it on home soil the way we did as well, that by far, with family in the crowd, friends in the crowd, that was the most special.
And what a final as well. The old Allianz full.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, that was an awesome. That's my favourite Sydney FC game. Your national team career, you capped over 20 times for the Socceroos. You debuted though, which is fairly interesting. You debuted in the OFC era. Bit of a break, 5-year gap was it? And then you come back into the squad in 2009 in the Asian, what we're now in Asian qualification. How do you look back on your Socceroos career?
Look, and you mentioned that sort of gap that I had. I sort of see it in that way. I never really found myself and look back as a regular Socceroo. You know, I appreciate the fact that I wore the Socceroo jersey for those amount of times, but didn't and don't look back at myself as a regular Socceroo. I played in those initial games as part of, we were there with the Olympic team and the Socceroos doing a training camp together. The Socceroos were playing, I think, in the OFC Nations Cup at the time. Frank Farina was looking after both groups, and, he picked me and a couple of the other Olyroos players to play in that. And then it was a long time in between, appearances for me, but it wasn't really until, I think it was when I went to Japan that... a lot of foreign coaches here, or when they came here, didn't see the A-League or didn't rate the A-League all that highly. So, you had to be overseas to get a chance. And then it was really when I went to Japan that, all of a sudden I started getting picked and started playing a few more games. Look, I definitely think that my game in general picked up when I went to Japan just because of the speed of the game over there, different positions I was playing in, it definitely improved me. But I think to see and suggest that the A-League players weren't up to standard, I never really agreed with. But in saying that, like I said, my career with the Socceroos, proud to have played with them, never really feel. And I think, again, because when I came into that team that was playing in the OFC Nations Cup, you had Cahill, Bresciano, Grella, Schwarzer, our greatest ever Socceroos, right, were in that incredible generation. And I was there as a young kid, cool. Coming through. It was incredible, It was incredible training with these guys, playing with these guys. It felt surreal, for me. These are playing in the Premier League, La Liga. I'm playing at wherever I was at the time. I don't know, Marconi probably still. So for me, it was huge. But it was an honour to be there. It was a dream then for me to be able to try and follow in these guys' footsteps and do what they were doing. But very quickly got brought down to earth, and Bayani actually, who was the assistant at the time, I got called into these games. These guys in between games, after a game are going out. I think we were playing in Adelaide. They're going out, they're partying after games. But these are big Socceroos, biggest. They're used to it. They've earned exactly right. That's what Arnie told me.
Did you think, I
thought, I'm a big time now. I can go out with these guys, and we've got a game in 2 days. That's fine. I'll be all right. And then we did play a game where I was absolutely stinking, right? And I got dragged at half time, and there was probably 3 of us actually of the young ones. And Arnie got us in and said exactly that. Like, you guys need to pull your head in. These guys have earned the right to do what they're doing. If you think you're going to go out partying with these Socceroos when you're 19, 20 years old, whatever you are, you probably won't wear a jersey again.
No, it's where the best sponsoring happening there, right?
Yeah.
Nights out.
Exactly right. But no, so look, and then I think from there, that generation, we've never really quite had a generation like it. It feels as though we're can build towards it, and we've got kids at the moment, young enough, able to sort of take that next step. But yeah, that generation to play in that was incredible. So then, when I then started being a regular player, I almost felt like, man, you've got Kuhl, Cahill, Bresciano, and now I'm being looked at to lead this line. I almost never felt worthy enough of wearing that jersey, which is, look, I guess not a big deal, right? That's probably something in here more than anything. But, I always looked at it that way that, I can't tie these guys' shoelaces, yet here I am looking around, well, who else is there type thing. There's some good players, but none of us are really on that level. And it is what it is. I think regardless, I enjoy my time playing with the Socceroos, but again, don't see myself as ever having locked down a regular spot.
That's so interesting what you said, and I wanted to touch on that, your move to Japan and the UAE, because I remember that vividly as a fan. Like, managers would come out and say, we're not picking A-League players. Yeah. Which is crazy because now we seem to look back on that era of the A-League as the peak of the A-League in terms of quality, but for some reason managers wouldn't pick from there. Yeah. Talk to me about making that move. At the time, players were making it, but as you said, as a kid growing up, I'm sure you didn't dream of playing in Asia. Now you're seeing players do it all the time. They're going to all Japan, UAE, Qatar, even Thailand. Like, what was that like? Because you played in the UAE and you played in Japan. What was the difference in styles like as well?
Look, there's a huge difference in every single way. I think that the two countries, the approach to the game, the professionalism, completely different. Japan, it's a culture that is very, structured. Everything's on time to the minute, and everything just runs like clockwork. And the players are the same. Every player technically is so incredibly gifted that, you can't tell whether he's a left back, right back, midfielder, number 10. They're all technically so good. Their awareness on the field is great. So to train in that environment, to become a better player, I loved it. I loved going to training every day, training with these guys, seeing where my game went to as well, being around them. And then, again, as people, the Japanese culture is incredible.
So respectful.
So respectful. They go out of their way to help you and to help you settle. I had a young family at the time, and the way, people would always come up off the street, not even knowing that I played football or who they were, just to help and be nice and understanding that we were foreigners and to see what they could do for us. Incredible. And then the UAE was just completely different. It's a life and country driven by money, which, I didn't like the way that, I guess if you're not a local, that, whether you're coming in there to work and be it at any level, the way, people are treated over there. I thought that side of it, I didn't like at all. There's an entitlement, I guess, with the locals there that, you could literally be standing in line to order something and they'll cut in front of you just because it's their country and that's the way they see it, So you're not from here, this is my country, I should go before you. So there's an arrogance almost which I didn't quite like, and completely contrasting to Japan, where they'll put you first, the kids as well. Silly little story where you get into an elevator and the young kids, they move to the side of the elevator. You're talking a small little area. The senior players stand in the middle, doors open and they walk out first and the young kids stay to the side. It's a silly little thing, but that's the respect that they have ingrained into their culture from babies, right? Whereas it's completely different in the UAE. And because they have money, they feel as though they have control over, these players. For them, it was like PlayStation. Every 6 months, foreigners were changing. This guy's no good. He's not doing what we thought. Get rid of him and bring the next guy in. And it's just a high turnover every 6 months of players, of coaches. So it was
Coaches,
hard to,
as well, yeah.
it's hard to look. And the crowds aren't overly great. It's hard to play football in that incredibly, tough heat.
Yeah.
But it's a lifestyle again driven by money and cars and hotels and luxury and all of that. So there's a lot. As a foreigner, you find yourself getting drawn to all of that as well. It's a great life to live at the end of the day, but for football, not so great. So there was a time there with, do I stay or do I come home? And then Arnie called and I guess the rest is history, but it was good to come home and spend those last couple of years here.
I'm bringing you back to Sydney. You've played so many Sydney derbies. You're like the mascot for the Sydney derby. Do you have a favourite one of those for you? Is there something that stands out?
Look, a favourite one for me, I think, was that game at ANZ Stadium with 60-odd thousand people. Again, just to see, I think the Wanderers coming in the competition was incredible and just took Australian football to another level. It brought the best out of Sydney FC, their fans. So then to see where the game had come, where 60-odd thousand people are going to just incredible. A regular weekend game is insane, right? Insane. So to play that game, and I think it was that game where I made comments about the Wanderers. I'm not sure if it was that game. Anyway, I was on the bench. I was coming back from surgery and which I didn't want to be on the bench. I said to Arnie, these people are going to kill me on the sideline warming up. Either start me or leave me completely out. But anyway, I started on the bench, copping absolute abuse the whole time. And then, I think, again, because of the comments and all of that, and then standing there about to come on, my face has been shown on the big screen and the whole stadium just started booing. Yeah, and I loved it. It was brilliant. Awesome. So I was just the feeling. I think it was Pandazopoulos the other day, right? He said that's the biggest compliment you can get, when the away fans are hating on you. So that moment about to come into the field being booed by all the Wanderers fans was great. And then to go on and beat them 4-0 or whatever we did, even sweeter.
I feel like it's awesome to have the Derby Villa, right?
Yes.
Because it's something that, we need to bring back. And games like that where the atmosphere and the passion's there, I think it's good for the game.
You need people to hate. You need people to, as fans to go and lose it in the right way, obviously. But you need stories. You mentioned having characters, and I feel like that part of the game is gone a little bit. We had the Barishas, the Archie Thompsons, these guys that would do different things and really get under the opposition fans' skin. And it's hard to find that sort of player at the moment. Everyone sort of plays to a structure and does what they have to do and doesn't want to be controversial, which it's not about that, but it's I don't know. I think we do need to sell the game.
You need a bit of emotion as well. Like I honestly had no issue with Anthony Pensov because you know what, he talked to that and he backed it up as well. And like when I think of Sydney FC, I think of those derbies, I think of you. Like you embody. You wouldn't have been brothering on with any of those Wanderers players. I mean, you're in game mode. But now there's a little bit too. I'm not just talking about the Sydney derby. I'm talking about like world football in general. There's too much hugging and kissing and like I want to see like in wrestling, you have good guys. And you can't just have good guys. You can't just have John Cena.
And that's why they fill stadiums every time, right? Because of the story and because they go there to hate on him because he's doing that to him. Exactly right. The stories we need. And we don't, I mean, I had like really good mates, really close mates playing for the Wanderers at the time. But there's no way I would have been caught dead, seen with them the week of a derby. I think that's as well out of respect to the fans, right? Because there's genuine hate there. There's a genuine divide. So, I mean, I felt it more than most, which is why, again, you talk to passion and feeling something for the game. Again, the whole promotion relegation thing with something really at stake, that will change things. I know it will change things. So I hope we start to head.
Well, that's an obvious question. I'm sure you've been asked this a million times. You played in leagues where they have promotion relegation. I think Japan, in terms of Asia, do it the best. Can you see one day a pro rel in Australia? And do you think it's needed?
It's definitely needed. I remember going into for my first season in Japan, and it was a club that was sort of sometimes at the bottom of the table, mid-table generally. But Eddie Bosner was a teammate of mine at the time, and he said, "Look, as foreigners, there's pressure on us here." And he gave me a target. He said, "We need to be hitting this many points, and we'll stay up." And that was the conversation we're having. If we get to this amount of points, we stay up. So there was genuine pressure as the foreigner as well to try and make sure the team stayed up, and that was so. You're not even thinking about winning the competition. You're thinking about staying up, and I think that day-to-day drive that you need to have then changes. The accountability that's on your shoulders and every player's shoulders and responsibility as well. We don't have that here. So, as soon as 3/4 of the way into the season, if your team knows that they're not going to make the finals,
why would you go?
Give up? And why would you go as a fan? The effort's not there from the players as well. So I think if there's that will take our game to another level. I know it. And I can't understand how everyone talks about the financial reasons why it won't, but it happens everywhere else in the world. Yes, we travel longer distances, but there has to be a way to make it work. It's what separates our game from rugby league, from AFL, from any other code. They don't have promotion, relegation. It will take our game to a new level. I hope that the clubs, the APL, embrace what the championship has done and what we've seen there, and try and bring that promotion, relegation as soon as we can.
You're right, though, because even the fans, right? The fans drop off. You have Mariners that won it, and then the fans start to stop going to games when they're not
you just
getting
get
the
drama
results.
at both ends of the table as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
and sometimes the drama at the bottom is just as exciting.
It's just as exciting.
It
and
is,
just
exactly.
as big. Yeah, the high pressure games are just as big. You're right. But I think every club then starts to embrace who they are. I mean, the Mariners are a team that always punches above their weight. So realistically, yes, promotion, relegation. There's probably more money that's going to start coming into Sydney and Wanderers and Melbourne Victory, Melbourne City. But then the other clubs, when those clubs go into, Central Coast Stadium, the fans show up because they want to be
embrace that.
Exactly
that
right.
passion.
Exactly. And you can look. I think we need to head that way.
I couldn't agree more. And Alex, just to put a ribbon on this profile, your playing career. I don't know if you're a wrestling fan, but John Cena recently retired, and fans aren't happy with how he retired. But he should have maybe the creative team should have asked you on how to do the dream retirement because you retired. Your retirement was perfect. When you talk to me about finishing on that note, like you win the championship to wrap it up, was there an element of you? Because I'm sure for professional players, it's hard to let go. But surely when that happened, you're like, nah, I can't double dip at this. I can't change my mind. Like, it's done now.
Look, I already had, because the season before I was close to retiring, very, very close. And then, with Arnie leaving, Stevie Corica staying on, the way, we lost in the semi-final, a lot of changes going on in the club. I felt as though there was still enough in me to stay around and to help out and to be a part of it. But yeah, that last year really just confirmed that I was done at the end of that season. So there was no, I'd spoken to enough people in those 2 years now that, to know that the decision I was making was the right one. I was just going to enjoy this last season. But yeah, of course, the realisation when the final whistle goes, it was weird. It's a weird feeling to know that what I've been doing since I was 4 years old, I'm no longer going to do, and I haven't, I don't play even with mates, go for a kick around
Marco,
anymore.
give you a call, maybe a little run back.
Look, no, they did, but I didn't think I thought if I don't have enough at A-League level, it's arrogant of me to think that I have enough at NPL level. I think that, it's just as demanding, just as physical, the players are just as good. So if I can't cut it here, I can't cut it there, and to go there and take a young kid's spot wouldn't be the right thing to do. So, I was happy with my decision. And you're right, again, there was it was a dream scenario, but in saying that, I sort of looked at the semi-final, we knocked out Melbourne Victory, and my good mate Carl Valeri was playing, he was retiring that year, and there's hard feelings towards them because I think, yes, it was a fairy tale finish for me, but on the other side, I've got a lot of close mates, Santa Lab as well in the final that we beat for Perth, that it didn't go so well for. So I'm lucky and grateful that it ended that way. But you're right, it was a perfect way to finish.
How did you find after football? I know you work as a pundit and, as a coach for your daughter, but did you find your identity, like, you said you've played since you were 4. It's who you are, right? Is that something you struggled with after football, knowing who you were?
Look, not really, because I was lucky enough that when I finished, Fox Sports, they told me to come in and do a little bit of the punditry stuff and sit on the couch and do that, give my opinion. So I think that connection to the game has always remained. The club has been great in always keeping me around and finding a way to have me here. So I feel like there's still enough to keep, everything that I've done still sort of, and I wouldn't say relevant is the word, but still make me feel like
You're involved in football.
I'm involved in football. Yeah, it's not like I'm done. I'm completely detached, and now what? You know,
Because I think that's really hard for a lot of people.
it
right?
is,
When
and
you
a
just
lot
have
of
nothing.
a lot of players struggle with that. I mean, the mental side of mental health is huge for players after football, and keeping just finding a way and finding a purpose and what to do. I had a lot of help with a couple of mentors that helped me away from football, prepare for life after football in different ways. So I think just that balance of getting that family time, which I missed for a lot of my career, still understanding, okay, I need to earn a living and do something, but then also staying involved in football. There's a lot of parts to my life now, which I feel I have that balance and I'm enjoying. And yes, it's quite busy, but again, it's good fun.
Brosque, it is now time for The Cool Break, brought to you by San Miguel. This is where we just take a little bit of a break from the normal line of questioning. Some of these questions are going to be a little bit weird and a little bit different, okay? You ready? Let's start with, what do you do to switch off?
To switch off completely, I guess mentally, what most people do, you get on Instagram at 10 o'clock at
You're
night.
a doom scroller?
I am a doom scroller.
You only joined recently, though. I feel like a few years
and that's
ago or
why
something.
I'm catching
Yeah,
up.
no,
So
yeah,
every
okay.
night I'm on there
Last
from, about 10, 11 o'clock when we go to bed to then, all right, wife falls asleep and next thing is 2 in the morning.
You get sucked in, don't you?
It's bad. It is bad. It is bad. So look, that just completely switches me off. I have a bit of a laugh on that, and it's not that bad, but it is a little bit bad.
Yeah, everyone loves a little doom scroll.
Yeah.
And otherwise, golf. I love
You're a
playing. Every now and then, I'm part of a social group. We play together once a month, and with my old man, my brother, a lot of guys that we know. Golf is a good place to. Well, I guess maintain that little bit of rage that is in there.
The
Take out your
competitive drive as
frustration.
well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a frustrating game. So
I get it being Balkan, you've got to get it out somewhere. You've played with some amazing players here at Sydney. Who would be on your Sydney FC Mount Rushmore?
Ooh.
Tough one.
yeah,
4 players.
4 players. All right. That's hard because you got mates, you got good players.
I know,
It's,
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like they can be on Mount Rushmore for different reasons.
Yeah.
as well. It doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily have to be the
Best
4 best. It could be
mate.
like influential.
Yeah.
It could be this person
Mentors.
embodies the club.
And
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore means 4 players.
Yeah,
Players.
it's tough.
You can put yourself on there as well if you want.
No,
I feel like you
I'll
won't.
leave myself off. I think, look, Ryan Grant has to definitely
Yep.
be
Has to
there. Just such a great guy. I think it's great to see him captain now. And he was a kid coming through when I was there with the long blonde hair, surfy vibes, country boy at heart though, and you can't remove that from him. But just brilliant. Really embodies the whole club.
He is Sydney FC.
He
is.
Mate, he's
He
the founding
does,
father
yeah.
of
He
the
definitely is.
first
That's
head on
awesome,
Mount
yeah.
Rushmore.
So he's there. All right. So you had Ryan Grant on here. Did you pose that question to him?
No, I don't think we did.
All right.
We did foreigners.
Foreigners, okay. So he's one. Do you put Dwight York on there for that first year and building the club into maybe?
I like where you're heading with this one. Okay, because the influence as well. They don't necessarily.
I know
have
who
to-
I'm thinking of.
Yeah. And this one might be controversial, but
Please do.
yeah, I think Ninko's got to be
Yeah.
up there.
He has
He's
to be.
definitely got to
He
be
has
up
to
there.
Has to be.
Look, I mean, absolute legend, right? Regardless that
He
he went
is.
to the Wanderers.
Yeah.
What a player. Part of that team,
He was.
that incredible team. Won us the championship with that penalty in the end. Player of the season. Great guy. Great foreigner,
Yeah.
Okay, so Ryan Grant, Ninko.
It's a good lineup so
Two
far.
more. Man, look, I'll put Yorkie up there. I know he was only there for a season, but I
Yep.
think just, with that whole tag in the first year and driving, the Bling FC and Sydney needed someone like him
Yeah.
to be around.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put him in there. And then one more. Wow, there's been a lot.
I know.
Throw some names
Okay.
out.
Del Piero
Del-
deserved
Del
to be there.
Piero.
What he did for the league.
Lafondra.
Yeah.
Who else do we
You
have?
got Bobo. You got.
Yeah, Bobo.
You got.
I mean, then
There's been so many.
we're doing only players
Yeah.
as well, because then do you have?
No,
you
just
can't,
players, no gaps.
Just because then it gets tough.
No,
with
it's
it.
too
Yeah,
tough.
I know. Then it gets tough.
I don't know who that last one would be.
We said Lafondra, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we said Alfie.
There's been a lot.
Bobo.
There has. I don't know that there's anyone on the level. Can we have 3 heads on Mount Rushmore?
We can, and then you.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Plug in.
That's a nice one.
That's a pretty good.
I could look at my head every day on that.
That's a very
thing.
nice
Go.
Mount Rushmore. I like that one. You're Uruguayan.
Yeah.
Who's the greatest Uruguayan footballer of all time? Who's your GOAT?
My favourite was Alvaro Recoba.
What a player.
Yeah,
What a player.
What a player. In that, again, you're talking peak A-League. I think that was peak football in general.
Absolutely.
That 2000, probably 2006, really. I don't think that's probably peak A-League, but that peak football where
Germany World Cup.
players,
Germany World Cup,
was that
I would say.
06?
Yeah, that was 06.
Man, incredible. And I don't know that he was around that time, but he was probably just before it. What a player. What a left foot. Super lazy, but super talented. One of those players who probably can't play today because it's a different game. It's so fast. It's so structured. Everyone needs to be doing 14 kilometres, 15 kilometres a game. They need to be doing this many passes.
Wow.
Man, what a player. Just on a different level, and at the time, I think he went for a record transfer fee to Inter Milan. I was a young kid, so as an Australian, I'm looking at Harry Kewell, left-sided player, and internationally, with my background, Recoba.
I think that's a generational thing as well. Like,
Yeah.
you're that generation, it's Recoba,
Yes.
Recoba. Then the next generation, which is like our is like Suarez,
Yeah.
Cavani.
Yeah.
What an underrated footballing nation.
Yeah, it
Uruguay.
is.
And then we have that nice rivalry, Uruguay-Australia.
Yeah, that's
what,
there.
what was that? What was 05 like in the Brosque household?
05. So, look, I think by that point, we'd obviously lost the first one in 2001. So that was, that was tough. I got to meet all the Uruguayan players because I went to Melbourne to watch the game initially in my Socceroos kit, and then went to the park where the Uruguayan players are on off that Uruguayan jersey on. Yeah, that was insane. But then 05, look, everyone had sort of come to that realization within the family that this was our time. Australia had to. Was ready as a nation to go to the World Cup. So, yes, for my mum, my dad, I'm sure when the national anthem gets played, there's something there, no doubt. But I think, with what Australian football had become, it was our time. So, when Johnny scored that penalty, what an incredible
unreal. When you speak about footballers being lazy, was there anyone that ever was a terrible trainer and then just unbelievable?
As soon as you say lazy, one name comes to mind, without a doubt: David Carney. The
baller of the future.
Again, talking to that Recoba type player, right?
Bring back the lazy footballer, the lazy baller. They got to come back.
That's what the A-League used to be, right? You had quality players who you could just let him, put him on the field. We'll get runners around him. Carney was that type of guy. He had a wand of a left foot, so just as long as he's out in the field doing his thing, we'll do the running for him. But just in general, like he was travelling 2 hours a day to come training. He gets out of the car. Mind you, he's already in his 30s. His back is finished. He walks out. It takes him like
you need a crane to
20 minutes to get him walking straight. And then his diet was for the bin. But he was my roommate and my best mate. We went to school together, year 7. So we grew up, as kids together. To then see him and win a grand final together was incredible. But yeah, he was a guy who you needed in the change room as well because he'd make everybody laugh. Yeah, he was the guy that the coach could hammer, and send messages to everybody else. He'd take it. He'd have a smile on his face. But professionally, one of the worst. One of the worst.
Another underrated Sydney FC player. Like that is great. Now, Sammy, you've inspired me now. Thinking of a new game. We like to play a new game with everyone that comes on. I don't actually have a name.
No, we don't.
What are you going to call this? I don't know. It's just think of every Sydney FC players that you've ever played with, that you've ever trained with, that's walked through these doors, okay? Think of every single one. Foreigner, Australian. Just really think of every interaction with the Sydney FC player. Okay, we're going to play some games. Who was the Sydney FC player that was always late?
Me.
You.
Really?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
To be fair, you were late today.
You're 15 minutes late today.
I used
Is that
to
a
be.
Uruguayan?
It is a Uruguayan thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you got to tell us half an hour to an hour earlier. Otherwise, we just again, going back to Marconi, I could walk to training and the coach would say to me, "Mate, I can see your house. How are you late to training?" So it's in the blood. I don't know what it is.
I love that throwing yourself under the bus as well. That was great.
terrible.
Sorry, I didn't help today. Who had the worst fashion? I'm sure there's been many.
Ryan Grant.
It's gotten better, I think.
Has it?
Yeah. I know it's a bit indie
What was the worst
fashion,
thing you
but
saw him wear?
Ed Hardy
I
t-shirts.
think
My brother had a few of those.
I think he brought in the oversized look before it was sort of now in fashion. You know, everyone's wearing
Trendsetter. Now look at both of us.
exactly. We're all exactly right. No, and but double oversized. You know, he's not the biggest guy, but his shirt. I mean, everything was just way too big for him. It was like he just went to any store and said, "Yep, I'll take that." Didn't try it on, and that's it. And I mean, we used to give him a bit of stick about it, but I'd say Rhino had the worst fashion sense. Yeah.
Well, you answered this one, but I had a question here. Who's the biggest eater? Or should I say the worst eater? They had the worst football diet. Is it David Carney or was there someone else?
Yeah, no, it was him. It was him. Look, we used to go on a pre-season tournament to where was it? To the Gold Coast, and he was sick. He had gastro for a couple of days. I mean, gastro, as you know, you can't eat anything that goes in goes straight back out. He got to stay home while we all went for a run.
He's loving it.
He sent us a photo having a burger. He's got chocolates. He's got Coke on the table.
Because he knows he's going to...
The only guy with gastro that put on weight somehow was David Carney. So
That's the best.
and to be fair, my diet wasn't too far.
No?
I loved a burger, and in the olden days, NSL days, when you could probably get away with it, I used to have McDonald's for my pre-game.
Wow. What was the guilty pleasure of choice for Alex Brosque?
At McDonald's?
Or just in general?
Oh, in general?
I could order this right now. I click my fingers and it appears.
A schnitzel. Chicken schnitzel.
Yeah, nice chips.
Yeah.
That type of stuff, is it?
Yeah. The salad can go.
Schnitzel
Schnitzel and chips.
What's the worst coach's spray you've ever seen someone cop?
That's tough. That's tough, especially towards the back end. There weren't players changed, and I think even more so these days. You've got to be players are a little bit more sensitive.
Probably in the all-girl days.
I mean, I copped a few. I don't remember much about other players, but I copped a few. I copped one from John Cosmina. In a semi-final, I copped one from Ange Postecoglou in an under-20s World Cup. Where we did a post-match, analysis on the game, and he sort of said to everybody, he goes, Brosque, he goes, mate, he goes, just watch yourself. That's you right there. He goes, for a couple of minutes, just watch. And he played about 2-3 minutes, and I was just sort of going nowhere. He goes, mate, you have not, he drew a circle. He said, you have not moved 5 minutes. This is a World Cup, mate, and you have gone nowhere in the opening 5 minutes of a game. Anyway, which is,
Can't be good for your confidence.
Yeah, no, but look, it got a reaction. And Cozzy gave me a cracker. Graham Arnold, when I was with the Socceroos, like I said, gave me
that's a good one.
a beauty. But yeah, none that stand out.
That's a good
Probably
one.
a good
The
thing,
spray with the video evidence as well. That's a good one.
Well, then
Ryan
you can't
Grant told
hide.
us you were the fine master.
Yeah.
What's the most outrageous fine you've dished out or received?
Because now that Rhino was saying that if the boys wear the same thing,
Oh, yes.
they get fined.
That's
It's
a
like
good one.
everyone's rocking a Uniqlo t-shirt.
Yeah, that's what we would have got fined. What's the most outrageous fine you've seen or...
No, well, fines were pretty cruisy, right, and simple. Like you had it laid. There was a list of things. Ninko got one once for so Ninko came to training once, and if you wore something outrageous, your kit got hung up, as if to make a point on how bad it was. And Ninko was never one for games like that, But Ryan Grant, of all people, and I think it was him or Michael Zullo, got Ninko's kit and hung it up, and he was not happy. He lost it. Took huge offence to it, but there wasn't anything. Again, it was just for being late. The later you were,
So you all the time then?
You doing
it was me. I mean, I pretty much funded our trips. Yes.
Who was the biggest teacher's pet? Just loved sucking up to the gaffer.
Teacher's pet.
I feel like that'd be me if I was on the team.
Yeah, definitely. Just always there, brown nosing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
he
getting
wants to
the
be
gaffer's
careful here.
breakfast. Or you're retired now.
You can't be doing that.
Gaff, you want a coffee? And you're thinking,
no.
this guy.
And I don't know that he was a teacher's pet, but probably Brandon O'Neill in terms of just
see
being
that.
the super nice guy everywhere.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything bad about everybody, about anybody. Always
too nice.
always too nice.
Yeah.
Too nice to the point where you look and going, is it? I mean, is it?
Isn't
But
it-
then you watch his Instagram and he's genuinely
He's
that nice.
generally the
So
nicest
He's
guy.
nice.
probably him.
Yeah, I
That's
like
fair.
that one.
And MVP on the end of season trip.
Ooh, save the best for last there.
Yeah.
MVP. I want to say Seb Ryle.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I
okay.
think Grant said the same
I
thing.
think Grant said the same thing too.
Yeah.
He was a guy you had to be careful with, but also a guy you needed to have there. I'd say Zorlo as well was a good one.
Yeah.
A real character.
You need them in the locker room. Locker room
Yes,
characters.
But they're the
yes,
best
yes.
on an end of season.
And Seb Ryle actually almost. So we went to Vegas one year.
Yeah.
And there was a guy. I don't know what he was doing, looking for coins in the fountain in
fountains,
front of
yeah.
I think it's the Bellagio. So the guy had left his shoes there to go into the fountain to get some coins, and Carney thought it'd be funny to jump over, grab his shoes, and not throw them, but pretend to throw them. And as he's grabbed them, and he'd had a few drinks, mind you, Seb Ryle's then gone to push Carney into the fountain. Somehow managed to keep his balance and didn't fall in. But those two guys were great. Zolo's the guy who's sort of just always there on your shoulder. You got the good angel and the
Who's
devil.
he the bad angel?
He's the bad one. Just always
Do it.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Oh, that's
So those three
That's
guys, actually, we had a good couple of trips.
to be a fly on the wall on the Vegas trip.
Yeah.
You would have seen some things.
Yeah. I organised a trip that we went on, which was great. I'd been on one prior for my brother's Bucks party, so I sort of knew what to do, where to go, how to organise it. But I think the boys had a good trip. We drove Ferraris, Lamborghinis from LA to Vegas.
That's mad.
And then stayed in an incredible place. Went to beach pool parties, night parties.
Oh, Vegas, what a place.
It is a good place.
What a great place. What a great place. And on that note, it's
reminiscing
time
for
for
you
some,
too.
On that
it's
note.
time for some fan questions. This is from Naively Informed. Naively Informed has had a couple.
You're a big fan of the
Yeah.
potty?
Which team and league would you have liked to play for? If you could just pick one team.
Oh, look, one team, regardless of my ability,
You could have played there. You
all
could
right,
have
I would have played for Liverpool.
Big Liverpool
run out
fan?
at good.
Yeah.
To run out at Anfield, and I went there as a kid as part of a school trip. Being a fan, the players that have gone through that place to have run out at Anfield would have been incredible.
Oh, yeah,
very
that would
cool.
be.
And then the Premier League as well, right? It's the
Yeah.
biggest league in
Yep.
the world,
To
most
play in the Prem.
entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, hearing that song as well. Next level.
Goosebumps worthy.
Yes. We've got another question from Brata Dov, 2027. Who was your favourite player to play with at Sydney?
There's probably a couple. I wouldn't say one. I think as a foreigner, and this is again more due to the relationship I had with them. So I think Juninho was one, just because of that sort of understanding that I had with him. Playing with a World Cup winner was insane. And yeah, again, that relationship on the pitch that we had, it was so fun to play as a striker with a number 10 like him behind. And then the other two, I'd say, with Bridgie, Mark Bridge was someone that, again, in terms of connection and just having an understanding of always knowing where he is, he knew where I was. We could always, we always knew where the other one was on the pitch. And that understanding I didn't really have with another striker. So I love playing with him up front. And then a couple more. I'm going to go.
Yeah,
a
go
couple.
on. Yeah,
go.
So Carney was another one, McFlynn, and Wilco, and these three, and Nachevsky. So these guys were all roommates, So I think as well when you room with someone and after a long hard day's training or an away game, to then have someone next to you and the bond that you get, the relationship that you sort of develop with these guys over that year or two, whatever it is. All those guys I love playing with.
It's pretty special, hey?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
amount
it
of
is,
friends
it is.
you make from football is awesome.
I can't believe we didn't mention Terry McFlynn's name in the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Terry
that's a
could
huge-
definitely
There you
be
go.
there.
Take me off.
Yeah, we're gonna
Take me off.
redact it and put Terry McFlynn.
Terry's on.
We finish up now. We've been doing this little ritual. We got a beautiful Sydney FC home jersey that every one of our guests signed.
Okay.
So Alex, would you do us the pleasure, please?
Absolutely.
There you go. It's
who have
filling
you
up
had on there?
nicely.
You got
pick your
Ryan
spot.
Grant,
We've got all of our guests.
Joe Lolly.
Finishes.
Joe Lolly,
Who else have we got here?
Maddie,
Heather,
Heather,
Maddie.
Yes.
and
HC. Is that Uffy? Head coach? No. Surely not.
Is it
It wouldn't be Uffy.
Maybe.
Heather?
Oh, yeah, that could be Heather. What's...
No, Heather Hint.
No, it's Heather. No,
No,
you're making me
must
do a
be-
double take.
yeah, it must be
It's got to be
Uffy.
Uffy, and he's
Yeah.
put HC on it. Yeah, my brain was just
All
on
right.
a delay there. I'm like, Heather, it's
interesting.
Head coach. No.
Yeah.
I still don't believe that's him.
I don't know. He's got the real cursive signature. It just looks like two.
Well, there's no U, and there's no T.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you. It's got to be. Okay, we'll
Ask him.
investigate that.
To be
though,
fair,
in
I
the
don't think we
meantime.
saw him sign it. So
Yeah. In the meantime, though, that's
Very
what it
good.
looks
There
like,
it
guys.
is.
We're going to give that away at the end of the season, so sit tight for that one. Alex, thank you so much for joining us today.
thank
We
you both,
finish
thank you
off
both.
Yeah.
with the same question every single time. If you didn't get into football,
went
playing
for
as a
football.
player, as a pundit, and as a manager of your daughter's football team, what would you have been?
Definitely no sort of labour. Clearly, I'm not built for anything. And having done landscaping the past week,
Got the goods.
Rough work. It's
Tan
rough. It
and
is
skin.
tough. Yeah.
it's way too hard for me. And I did do an accounting course, and I did work experience with my mum
Okay.
As an
as an accountant. So
Okay,
you
you
know,
would've crunched the numbers.
I love numbers. Yes, I love balancing
see
things
that.
out. I'd like to think that I would have
accountant.
been an accountant.
There you go. So if we needed, you could have been in another life, you could have been helping me with my tax return.
Possibly. I still can.
Uruguayans
if
like
you want.
Italians,
Yeah,
where
you
they look to
probably
do a
still
bit of
better
dodge.
than us.
Definitely.
They look to
You
knock
got
a couple
operate
zeros off.
in the
Yeah,
grey
operate.
areas. Yes,
Don't have
yes.
receipts for those ones, Alex.
I love that. All right, Alex, thank you so much for jumping
Pleasure.
on.
Yeah.
Sammy, we are going to have a little bit of a break now for the rest of
Yes,
25, but
we
of
are.
course, Jets this Saturday. Don't miss that. Then we're back at home
Yep.
on the 27th. Our
And
women
28th as well,
are
yeah.
playing on the 28th.
Yeah, so some games after Christmas, guys. So make sure you get to those games if you can, because they're both at home. And as usual, send in your comments because we're
Absolutely.
getting more and more every episode.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. As always, stay safe. Enjoy your Christmas. Happy New Year.
And we'll
Forza
see you
Sydney
next
FC. We'll see you in 2026.